Hello everyone, how are you doing? It's like coming to the end of my spring break, which is kind of sad. Somebody posted on Instagram about how the Friday during spring break is like the saddest Friday of the whole year because it's meaning it's coming to the end of our spring break. We have the weekend and then we're back at school for the rest of the year. We only have like a few more holidays. We have oh, sorry, like Good Friday and then like Memorial Day and then yeah, that's it. But anyway, it was a pretty good day. Well, it was an interesting day. So, know that I'm like a huge Houston Astros fan and they won the World Series this year. So the trophy has been doing this like tour thing all across Texas. And this weekend, oh, and by the way, if you're in Houston, this weekend, it is at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. So today was the first day, and I believe it's all the way through Sunday that it's going to be there. So we figured this was probably like our best chance to go and see the trophy and get a picture with it. And my mom actually volunteers down at that museum every week. So we were like, okay, we'll go. And we're like, we got to get down there early because we know it's going to be like crazy. So I got up the earliest I have all spring break. My mom was like, be at the house by 8 o'clock. I was there like a little after 8 o'clock because of traffic and stuff. But so I get there, right? And they weren't even ready to go yet. So I'm like sitting there eating my breakfast and the doorbell rings. And one of my parents' neighbors was like, sorry, we just hit your car. And I was like, oh my gosh. Thankfully, there was like no damage. Like the little bumper kind of popped out a little bit, but I was able to like push it back in. So it wasn't really a big deal. And the guy was like, if you have any issues, he's like, we're not moving anywhere. We live right across the street. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. So yeah, that was fun. So then we go down there. And because my mom volunteers, we actually kind of got into the museum before it actually opened. And so we got to take a picture with the trophy before all of the public got in because there was actually a line already outside and everyone was wearing their like Astros blue and orange, which was really kind of cool. So we got in. Then we got to see some of the exhibits that are there, which is pretty cool. We saw this one that was like all about knights, and I am like a huge history fan. I love learning about stuff in the past. And one of my favorite time periods is the Renaissance and or like the Middle Ages. I feel like it's just so fascinating to me. So that's like really like the height of like the whole knighthood and everything. So that was really fun. And then we went to this other one. It was like weird but really cool. It was like all of the crazy ways that you can die. Just between like different like natural like poisonings of like and animals and plants and all sorts of diseases, and it was interesting. So yeah, then we were leaving and the parking lot we parked at was busy because it's spring break, and the museum district has like a whole bunch, and there's like a bunch of different museums. The zoo's right there's some different parks, and it's spring break, so like there's a lot of people that are off. So we get in the car and we wanted to go this one way, but there was a car kind of blocking our way that wanted our spots. We're like, we'll go this other way. Well, then we got blocked by another car that was pulling out and another car waiting to get into that spot. So while we're there in the parking lot, not moving, somebody backs up into my mom's car. And we had been sitting there for a good minute or so. But again, luckily there was like no damage. And we're like, what are the odds that both my car and my mom's car get hit and there's no damage? So, yeah, that was incredibly lucky. And I have such a cute dog. I'm sorry. But yeah, so very, very lucky that way. So then we were like, my dad wanted to go downtown, actually to Minute Maid Park, to go to the team store and buy a jersey and a hat. So then we were like trying to figure out how to get downtown. Really? Yeah, so that was quite the adventure. And yeah, now I've been watching some, oh, you can't see now because it just went to sleep. But watching some YouTube. I'm catching up on some CTFXC. I kind of stopped watching for a while, just because like things got so busy, and so I'm pretty far behind. So I'm up to September, the beginning of September, which is when the hurricane came and hit Florida. It's like actually right before that. And it's just bringing up a lot of memories of when Harvey hit here, which was the storm before the one that hit Florida, before Irma. And just thinking about like all of the craziness that was going on here. And I remember because like Harvey came and it stalled out over Texas. So it rained for like a week straight. Like, and yeah, so we, flooded really bad. And I remember like people, I think because of how bad Harvey was for Houston, I think it really kind of freaked people out when it was like right away another storm that was coming right for the US. So when Irma was coming, I think people in Florida were kind of freaking out just because of how bad Harvey was. And I remember Irma was bad, don't get me wrong, but just how quickly it like passed through Florida, and it was over in like a day, like as far as like the like storm going through. And I was like, they're so lucky. That was my thought process, because Harvey came and stayed and then went back out into the Gulf and then came back onto shore for Houston. If you didn't know that, it hit landfall and it stalled out on over Texas for several days. Then it went back into the Gulf, and then it came back over Texas and then went off into the rest of the U.S. Because usually when hurricanes come, they kind of like come through and they pass through quickly because the winds are moving, and it will go off into other states in a very, very weakened state as far as like how it is when it hits. But it's crazy because there's places in Houston that are still not opened after Harvey. And it's been almost 7 months now since Harvey hit, just because of all of the damage and everything. And like my sister and brother-in-law had to be rescued from their apartment, actually. Thankfully, they were on the second floor, but they had to get rescued by a boat out of their apartment. And, they're still doing construction on the first floor of their apartment. Like all of the first floor was completely just gutted and had to be redone. So yeah, it's just crazy to think about. Like, it's been about 7 months and people are still trying to recover. People are still out of their homes. Yeah. And it was funny watching them because they're trying to figure out if they want to evacuate or not. And for me, I was always kind of like, I'm just going to wait it out here because I'm on the second floor of my apartment building. It's not going to be bad. And luckily, I was very fortunate that we didn't have any flooding at this apartment complex. But it is like a big selling point now is like when you see homes for sale, it'll be like, did not flood, because there's a lot of people who are really thinking about where they're living now just because of there are places that never flooded before and flooded during Harvey. And it was bad. It was real bad. Yeah. Hurricanes they're no fun. Yeah. Well, that was a depressing note. Anyway, I'm going to go. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys sometime in the future. Bye.